You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Hour, the show that brings you unfiltered stories and insight from the Twin Cities real estate world with your hosts, Chris Rooney, broker at RE/MAX Preferred, and Andy Presky, leader of the Preferred Home Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus.
Hola.
What it is.
Hello, hello.
How are you guys?
You know, Andy, if it was any better, I'd be with you.
Here comes a big hug, Chris.
That's good.
Yeah.
Nick's at like 11,000 elevation right now.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So if he passes out, just understand it's a real technical difficulty.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi is a little shaky, but not too bad. But yeah, it's I went from sea level to 11,000 feet, so you got to adjust to it. And I guess there's like elevation sickness, you know. Mm-hmm. So, but Colorado experience, I'll power through
it. Did you find the Mayan ruins or whatever you were looking for?
Inca.
Excuse me.
So now I'm gonna start doing all that stuff the next couple of weeks. You know, the Machu Picchu's and the other stuff that's not as famous. So should be exciting.
Yeah, I was following you along on your posts and talking about how Peru has some potential interesting new leadership coming, huh?
Oh, it's a total clown show. There's been 6 presidents in like 5 years, and the government has been found embezzling a ton of money, and yeah, it's quite sad, but it's not bad for a gringo. So
the future chapter of America, written today by Nick.
That, I mean, what I've seen doing the whole travel, and I like to go to more developing countries, is you get to see government for what it is. And usually it's just mafia with flags. I think in developed countries, it's more hidden and only the top players really see it or deal with it. But yeah, go to the third world and you'll see how corrupt and crazy the governments are.
I've always kind of wondered about that too. You know, like if you're truly a public servant, right? And you're out there serving the public, how do you make more money serving the public than you did in the private sector? Just throwing it out there.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anyone should even start complaining about that because it's on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
They're all doing it. Yeah.
Get a poisonous dart in the throat.
Yeah, exactly.
I already got Zillow hunting me down. They sit out in front of my house now chasing me because of all the comments I made.
How about
They're trying to get me now. The Zillow mob's trying to get me.
I think
Chris, they got a hit out on me.
Andy, Nick was going to invite us to come to wherever the hell he is, but he said we can't go hiking with him.
That's obvious.
No, there's a reason.
Why?
People, they said on the thing, if you're over 220 pounds, you should not do the hike I'm about to do. It's
Chris
that
and I were
like
that in 3rd grade.
False.
What are you talking about? I was born 190 pounds, I think. Ask my mom.
I graduated at 175.
No way.
Yes.
God. I thought I was skinny, and I graduated at about 200.
Yeah. Yeah, 175.
Never slowed down, though. I keep growing, Nick. I'm almost mature.
Nick would have been on the same trajectory, but he went over to freaking Italy and started doing this food thing, and now all of a sudden he loses weight. I mean, how much weight did you lose when you went over there?
I was like 225 when I went to Denmark first, and I came back at like 180.
Dang.
Yeah. And you ate the same.
Yeah, I stopped drinking for a while though too. That helped out, but I've kept like right now I stay like 190, 195.
He's on the wine and cigarettes diet.
I was. Now I got off it.
Yeah.
Oh, now you're off.
It's just the food. I'm telling you, it's just the food. The food is poisoned in the USA right now. It's crazy.
I think you're right.
A lot of stuff in there for sure. You know, so I got to get you guys out deer hunting. We can get you some of that natural venison. It's only slightly tarnished with the chemicals eat out of the corn.
Yeah, exactly. I got a natural half cow. Nope. Just saying.
Hey boys, we almost got 1,000 live streams on the YouTube last week. So let's get into the real estate. I think we have a bunch of new listeners. We're starting to get popular.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Come on. Those are people like, can you believe these two actually have a show? And then they tune in and say, can you believe what they said?
Yeah. I'm just like the sidekick. I just try to help Andy stay on the straight and narrow.
Just stay away from internet leads and they'll be fine.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? All right, what are we talking about? What's happening in the market? What do you think, Andy?
I'll tell you what, Chris, I am enthusiastic about what's happening. I'm starting to see, I'm not joking with you. So in new construction, I've got people that have been waiting on the sidelines, thinking it through, walking it through. They've done their analysis, and I'm actually writing purchase agreements. I did 3 this week. So big ones too. Nice,
For new construction.
Huh?
For new construction.
Yeah, new builds. Anticipating rates to soften throughout the season, but right now they're locking in on 300-day locks. A couple of them locked in at 5.9% interest, so they're ordering the new house, getting it built. So that comfort level is there now, and they don't have to, have the fear of my rate. All of a sudden, I'm at $6,000 a month house payment. So that helps a lot of people through that process. I also think the holidays. People get into that house and they have all 20 of their favorite relatives over and they realize, oh my gosh, we don't have enough room. We need another bedroom for mom and dad. They want to stay or whatever the thing is. And we want a double oven next year for the turkey feast or whatever. And I think there's a lot of that going on too, where people are just like, hey, enough is enough. There's not a house that we like that's in the price range we want. Let's build. And I think you'll see that for the next couple of years. I really do.
I think the other thing that happens during this time of the year is that when it gets dark at 4:30 and you're sitting around all the time, that there's not much to do and it's starting to get colder, you have time to think about it. Because a lot of times you don't. I mean, in the summer, we're always going and we're running and getting kids back into school, and all of a sudden, okay, now let's kind of settle down. And I was telling Nick before we jumped on, I have only one listing left that's active because we sold them all. And I was like, wow. And I'm visiting 2 people, today and tomorrow, about if they want to go, if we're going to go live before Christmas here. And I'm pretty sure we're going to do it because the market looks up and doing it. And typically, you don't do that.
Well, and I'm going to say, some of my entry, I call it entry, it's not, it's still, the 3 to 450 kind of buyers. I'm seeing where my listings are getting beat up and where we're starting to see where these buyers are coming in and asking for concessions and ridiculous things on inspections. And there's nobody lined up to knock them off. So they're getting away with it right now. And I think there's a temporary window where if you're a buyer, get out there right now in that price range. And because there's deals to be had, people aren't selling overnight. A lot of times it's taking a couple days or weeks and those houses are sitting. Buyers are getting sellers, are getting very realistic on, hey, do we really want to move or not? What are we willing to take? And then the buyer that does come along and offers up, let's see if they'll take it. And a lot of times the sellers are taking it right now. So,
but it's interesting. I think sellers are maybe jumping the gun a little on that. I had,
I agree.
A couple, actually, the ones that sold lately came in, and one was really trying to get a deal on it, and we ended up getting a great price from another person by just hanging tight. And then another one, it took the third offer to be able to get what we wanted, and we got it. So I think sometimes, I mean, if you've got something good, there's other people that are, getting nailed and they're accepting it and moving on because they're getting scared. So I think you got to really look at the market and what you're going against versus listening to everything that's online or what people are telling you. So,
well, I'm for sure. I'm telling you, under that 450, I'm seeing it become more of a buyer's market for sure. And I agree with you, Chris. The sellers should just chill out and not let the ankle biters get at you. Just relax, and the offers will come in. Or like I've told a couple of my people that I've met with recently, let's wait till after the Super Bowl. I call it the super winter spring, kind of kickoff. And there's a lot more buyers at that point. You'll have more competition, which means usually you get a better price. You're going to have better terms for you as a seller. Now, if you're a smart buyer, you're listening to me say that, and you're like, maybe I should beat that rush and get out there now, which I think is the case.
Yeah. and all of those listings that I had that ended up selling were between 60 and 100 days on the market, which
Yep.
was we haven't seen that, but yet we still did good on it. So I've got another one. The one I have left is actually on the lake, and that's a big one that you talk about, like taking it off, but there's nothing competing against it. So if someone's looking, it's what they're going to get, and so we're going to kind of hang tight on that one.
Yeah, well, that's smart. I mean, I think that it's kind of like going fishing, right? And this is the analogy I use a ton. And you go fishing in this lake and nothing's nibbling. Well, maybe there's no fish that are there willing to bite at that price point or that lure, whatever you want to call it. Change lakes and different price points, and that might be the hottest lake in town, right? So it's like I always say, be patient, and sometimes you're waiting for that right buyer just to come in when the fish wander down the creek and end up in the pond or the lake. And all of a sudden now you got your buyer, and that patience will pay. Nick, I'm going to blame.
I think too that you have to look at, I mean, from a realtor standpoint, it's our job to give you the information to make an informed decision. And ultimately it's your decision. So it's kind of like, hey, we can go tell people, you know what, you should list this at 400 and they want to list it at 475. We could tell them, you know what, by listing it that high, you're probably going to get nobody taking. And if they don't take, they're going to start to see the price go down. There's going to become more motivation or the thought of motivation. But that's what our job is our job is to give them the information. So the information that we're saying right now, to people, and maybe hang tight, but ultimately it's their decision. If they're like, hey, you know what, no, I want to get out, I want to be gone, let's drop it another 20 grand.
It was earlier this year, but I had a seller in that situation with me where I'm saying, hey, the market's really not in favor of what you want. We're probably closer to this range on price. Mm-hmm. And I loved it. My seller looks right at me, and by the way, successfully closed and behind me now. Looks at me and says, so you only want to take on the easy listings? And I go, oh my God, you're so me. I go, challenge accepted. But I said, the only thing I'm going to say to you is this. When we list at a higher price, all you're going to do is help sell all your competition. So I want to put you on a search, and we're going to show you how every house starts selling as you're sitting at the higher price. You're helping people, motivate them to go to the other offers, get the better deals. And I said, and oh, by the way, because I have to invest into you, I so don't believe in the price that you want to list at that I want an upfront retainer, an advertising retainer of $1,000. No big deal. It goes towards your sale commission if we sell the property. But I said, I need that fronted up front, because if all of a sudden I can't sell your house at a ridiculous price, I don't want to get stuck with the cost to do it. Right. And sure. All of a sudden we're kind of, I don't say we're best friends, but we're pretty close.
But I would say too that, I mean, $1,000 is pretty, that's not covering all your costs.
I spend over that. I just want to. It's more of the principle, Chris. It's not the actual dollar amount. I'm a big.
I think it gets them thinking too. Like, oh my gosh. I mean, yeah. So good.
It's not easy to buy a nice home in San Diego these days. In fact, it's practically impossible unless you have a very impressive income or very generous relatives. The median cost of a home here has jumped to $85,000. And because of the higher cost of land, construction, and higher interest rates, housing sales in the county have dropped off to the lowest point in 3 years. You just can't buy a home like you used to.
I'll take everyone I can get.
Yeah, exactly.
Because those are going for $1.4 million right now. Those same $85,000 houses.
I was gonna say maybe more than that, depending on where they sit. But yeah, San Diego is hot. But I mean, therein goes the whole point about home ownership and people worried about, oh my gosh, the houses are too high. I mean, what are you gonna do, and how long are you gonna stay there? I mean, if you look back, and I mean, and was that last week that we had that 40% of the people don't owe anything on their house?
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. Yeah. And so obviously, let's just say that every one of them had a 30-year mortgage and paid it off. I mean, what do you think's happened in 30 years? I mean, we know. I mean, the average appreciation is 4.5% a year. So, I mean, quadrupled that year in San Diego, that $80,000 house is now worth $2 million. So it's not a bad little investment.
It is not, my friend.
Yeah.
Isn't it kind of depressing that almost every new apartment building in America looks like this?
They call those 5/1s. That's 5 wooden stories on top of one cement. And typically the cement is either parking garage or it's street businesses with a parking garage attached in the back. And the reason they do that, it's the cheapest construction you can do per square foot right now. Per most building codes, they'll only allow that 5 wooden story construction. That's really cheap, and that's why they do it. And we're not going to see those beautiful brick brownstones or, those walk-ups anymore because it's way, way, way too expensive to build.
Because of the land. The land, and what Andy's talked about many times, is what the city wants for all their fees as well. Makes it hard.
There was a couple of years ago, I have got a lot of buddies. Got a buddy that's in the business, and he supplies the framing services and whatever else. And there was a big apartment being built, and they shipped the wrong lumber. It had to be a certain treated. So when they do wood, they actually do have a bunch of safety precautions that they do. They're over-engineered. There's a lot of engineered lumber in there too. So I don't know if that last clip, you guys got the impression that like there's less quality. The safety factors for sure there. It's a lower cost way to produce the buildings. But it was a like $400,000 mistake on this apartment building. They had started framing it with the wrong lumber, and it was not the certain treated. You remember this? You remember this a couple years ago?
No.
Well, long story short, it was not caught. It went all the way through the whole system to the point where they had 2 floors on this apartment framed before they caught it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a.
Where was that?
In Minneapolis. You can look it up.
Yeah.
I think the contractor was like Big D Construction or something like that, and they built a lot of the apartments here in the Twin Cities, and they had it was a mess, and insurance and everything else got involved, and they finally figured it out. But yeah, wow. So there's more to it than that gentleman was saying. Is talking about like the old brownstones, brick, and house or developments with lots of character. The difference would be is let's say that they built a beautiful all brick building with all the character that they did back in the early 1900s. Now your rent's $4,000 instead of $2,000, because of the cost of the building and the nostalgicness and the coolness of it. And, bringing in the only guy that still knows how to do a brick arch or whatever. I mean, they're not around anymore.
Yeah.
Hey, check out this building codes. You guys see that?
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
Really hope it doesn't rain there.
That's how you get some cheap housing.
And what is it? 50-some degrees too, isn't it?
54. Yeah. There's no heater in here either. I don't think anyone has heaters.
So it's a seasonably cool.
I think it doesn't get much colder than this, but this is like spring, I believe. We're going into the summer.
You're pretty high up, so it makes sense. But all right, what else? We're still going social media?
I am lost.
Oh, that was funny.
He forgot to flip the camera. Oh boy, we see a lot of that. We see a lot of that on Instagram now, doing that. But I guess that's kind of a big new hot thing, kind of getting glimpses and real quick and getting a few words in about a new listing. So
well, just look at how people like the holidays. They don't put formal pictures like they used to with the whole family. Everybody's looking perfect and right at the camera, and everybody's stoically posed, and they don't do it anymore. They just show grandpa sitting on the couch, and the TV's on in the background. It's a casual world we're in. And so I think that same approach to real estate marketing is being used by some of the folks that are very comfortable with that format. I hate to say I sound like an old fart, but I still like to give the houses the respect they deserve and do, professional photography, have the photos, edited where they look beautiful. spend the time to make a nice video that it shows the property, makes sense, ties everything together. But that's just me, I guess. But
Andy, it's about clicks and likes. What are you doing? I mean, you have to know that.
yeah, I had I want to hear an idea I had for marketing once, and I didn't do it. So I had this idea that I was going to be where's Andy, and all of a sudden you're like showing a house, and I'd be in the window, like just so they try to. Anyway, I thought it'd be funny because then I'd get people to watch the videos like the where's Andy.
I hate to say this, but I think that was my idea for you.
Oh,
yeah, because it was like where's Waldo, and it would be kind of like a crazy thing that Andy would do. I know we've had lots of conversations about weird stuff, but some of that stuff's coming real. We're not doing it, but other people are.
Yeah.
Hey, that goes into this question. This person's not too happy. Realtor took house pictures with their iPhone on $1 million plus listing.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how angry should I be? At yourself? Probably a 10. No, seriously, because why would you allow that? They should have.
Can I be honest with you, Chris? Let me throw this in there as you comment. This is a seller that hired the real estate agent on interest or on the percentage. They probably didn't even ask him, like, oh, okay, so you're at 5.2, the other guy's at 5.5, and the other guy's at 7. So I'll take you. And they don't actually look at what are you getting for the money. I tell everybody, I say, I don't even want to know your percentage. I want to know, what do you provide for me for marketing services? What is your level of negotiating skills so that you can help me negotiate through all of these, inspections and appraisals. And I need that experience, right, to get me a better bottom line. Show me what you got. And then let's talk about what we want to pay or what you charge. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, it's totally true. I'm sure that's what happened there. So I think when that person took them on their iPhone too, I don't know. I guess I don't know how people do list, and maybe they do go in like that. And agents come in and say, I'll do it for this much. And then people look past everything else. But I really kind of go in depth about exactly what we're going to do. In reality, our plans are made for 12 weeks, and then we readjust if we have to, but they know exactly what's going to happen the first 12 weeks and how it's going to go and what's going to happen. Hopefully we sell it, in day one. But if it takes longer, they know exactly what's going to happen. So I don't know.
I agree, Chris. I think at the end of the day, real estate agents are actually marketing people. And a lot of times we think we're salespeople, we think we're whatever, because that's part of the skill set you have to get the business. But it's not the primary focus of your existence. It's marketing properties, and it's understanding how to market and how to get more attention, and what team do you need to surround yourself with to accomplish that. You're obviously one of the best in the luxury market, and but you are. Anybody runs your numbers, they see what you do. It's not like it's a joke. It's for real, and you know what you need to do to get those houses marketed. You hire the right team, you do the right things. People get a lot for their money when they hire, you with your team. It's facts.
Well, I think people forget about, they're saying what they're going to do for them, but what they've already done. And like you said, the experience of working with some of these things and talking to agents and doing different things. It's really interesting to me how it's just a total different market when you get into that luxury market, and everyone thinks about costs and being cheap, and that's not what the luxury market is. That's not what they think, and so they want value, and what value they get, and what they get for that. And if they think it's worth the value, they're fine to pay for that. And it's just like what you're doing in a house. So if you're preparing a house, and the way we prepare it is say, oh yeah, do this and this and this. It's different what you do on a $500,000 house versus what you do with a $2 million house. And what you put in it, and what you can get away with, and what you can't.
100%. Yeah, and I think that, remember a couple of weeks ago we talked about this. There was like 68% or somewhere around that number of sales this year had an agent that did under under 2 transactions in the last 12 months. And they were talking about how agents are being hired without experience. That's the age of the internet, guys. You're clicking on the, hey, there's a pretty house, click a showing. You're getting the newest person in the business to show you that house. That's how they get business, because they don't have their own necessarily yet, or they're on a big team that buys all of those leads. I hate to say it, but click a button, you become a lead. And then beyond that, you look at the experience. A lot of it's convenience. So we like, hey, let's go and we'll take an Uber downtown or whatever. Nobody interviews the Uber driver to say, hey, how much experience you actually have? They hire them because of convenience. And I think that that's being rolled over into real estate. And that's why the real estate industry is getting in trouble right now with people not disclosing, that they're actually getting paid a commission or whatever, because they're so new and they're so inexperienced, and people are buying out of convenience. They're not buying out of experience, which will eventually flip back around. So those of us that are in the business and we're like, why don't people understand this? They will again. They'll get burned a couple of times, think real estate agents are all clowns. And then eventually, someday, the real estate association will start supporting those that have been around the longest, those with the most experience, and they'll start actually showcasing that versus hiding it. Right now, they're, hey, you're a realtor, you're the same as everybody else, and hey, hire us. Well, that's because when they protect the weak, they make more money. When they promote the strong, less people want to be part of that, because not everybody's, a big producer. And so the industry, but to survive, I'm telling you, NAR's in deep trouble right now. They're in deep doo-doo. And with the different allegations they keep having come after them and the whatever, there's going to be a real need to be restructured and be professional. And so that people do recognize, just like, hey, electricians, you have your journeyman, you have your master, you have your whatever. There's different levels of being an electrician. Why is there not as being a real estate agent? There should be, for sure. Anyway, sorry, I'll get off my soapbox.
Yep. No, it's not bad.
Hey, before we go into our next segment, Andy, you want me to roll your commercial, or do you want to go on the spot?
Go ahead. I'm fine.
All right. This next little side hustle for real estate agents in this market is going to be brought to you by Andy Prasky, Preferred Home Team.
Well, they said I could have 30 seconds on the show for a quick ad. Well, they said I could have 30 seconds on the show for a quick ad.
You guys hear me?
Andy Prasky, Remax Advantage Plus, Andy@Prasky.com if you want to email us. Here's the thing, 22 years in the business, over 1,400 sales. I'd like to help you with your real estate needs. If that's buying, if that's selling, if that's building, whatever it is, give us a call, send us an email. Let's get you started on your real estate journey. I'd like to help you on the way. Lots of experience here, and I would like to put it to work for you. Andy Prasky, Remax Advantage Plus. Thanks for listening to the show.
That was some nice extra commentary you got in there too.
I like to always talk over my commercials.
I do too. We hear it. Okay, this question came from Greg. Saw it somewhere. Yeah. And so one of the question was, what are some side hustles I can do as a part-time agent? I don't have any closings coming up and would love some Christmas money. So true. And I'll tell you what, when I saw that, when it came over, all I could think about is when I first got into this business and what I did and kind of where the scare is from agents doing a side hustle. And so when I first started the business, and I was very fortunate that my mom and dad were both in real estate, had, started, obviously been in it 20 years before I got into it. And, it kind of gave me a kind of a leg up, but it didn't help. I mean, in reality, it didn't help. It kind of, maybe for the disappointment, it helped from a standpoint of just hang in there. Don't worry. It's not the support. And, but I didn't sell anything for 6 months. And so I was like, I got to go get a job. And I got a job as a waiter, and it turned into a bartender at Applebee's in Burnsville. And, I went there almost trying to hide. Like if I saw people, I didn't want to do it in Prior Lake because people that knew me were like, oh, the guy can't sell a house, so he has to be a waiter or a bartender. But probably about a month in, someone that I did know came in, and I was waiting on them, and they said to me, hey, way to go. I think you're doing what you got to do to be able to do what you eventually want to do. And something to that effect. And I'm like, You know what? You're 100% right. And so I flipped it and I turned it around and said, you know what? I'm doing this because I'm the guy that is trying to get to the next level, and I need this to be able to pay for my way to be able to get there. And then I started promoting it, the fact that I was there. I ended up selling 7 different houses to people that worked there. And I only worked there probably about 9 months because after I sold my first house, it started going good. But I think people run into that right now of having another job and maybe getting that, like you just said, that those agents that only sell 1 or 2 a year, that they're part-time. How do you think, Andy, that people can go get a part-time gig, and where would they do it, and still feel like, hey, they're making money, they're making their payments, and being able to buy a present for their kid for Christmas?
I'll tell you, I've been one that my dad used to. Now I'll get to your answer in a second here, but my dad, when I was starting in the real estate business, he said, okay, you could go out and you could make your 10, 15, 20 bucks an hour somewhere else. But if you put that same amount of effort into your real estate business, could you really catapult your business and use that strength and that fear to trigger people, make those phone calls, talk to those people that are around you, get that sphere awoken of people that know you and let them know that, hey, I'm full-time, I'm here, I really could use your support. And you know what? Here's the coolest part ever. I'm brand new to the business and I've partnered up with a team. And here's what's cool about that for you. I can't afford to fail. I'm going to put every ounce of my effort and attention into your success. And I've got the experience of my team behind me. And we are going to hit a home run for you. And then you're going to brag about it to all your buddies. And then we're going to get another deal. And this is my dad told me this when I was getting started in the business. And so I avoided the side hustle intentionally to put that anxiety or that fear of failure onto the forefront of my my drive. And I use that as gasoline to drive myself. Now, if the market's slow, you're in a slow area or whatever, and you have to get a part-time job, I find nothing wrong with that. I think that what you're correct on is that, the illusion that, hey, I'm going to be a bartender at this country club, and then everybody that meets me at the country club is going to like me and want to hire me. That's not going to happen. It does happen sometimes, like Chris, where like you meet the people internally and they like you because they trust you and they know they're trying to better themselves, you're trying to better yourself, and that works out that way too. But for the most part, I think most people with the high end, not always, but sometimes, they want that person that has that experience or that reputation. They own that part of the lake, or people are well, viewed in that area, or, respected. Side hustles. I mean, go sell Christmas trees. I used to make a killing selling Christmas trees. I mean, when I was in college, I used to love sitting at tree lots. People would come in. I always had a one-liner. I'd have fun with them. I'd say, what are we looking for? I'd say, boy, a guy like me in college sure could use a nice tip. I'll tie this on your car for you, ma'am. And, and they would sit there and they'd open their wallet. I didn't know you tipped these guys, and they'd hand you a 10. And you're like, oh my God, I just made $10 in 5 minutes. And then all of a sudden, then you got another. And I used to love holiday stuff because people are in that fun holiday spirit, right?
And it can maybe play off of, I'm doing this because I enjoy it. I love Christmas versus, I really need some money to be able to kind of get my kids a present. But I think there's the other ones. I mean, two big ones that if you want to do some physical stuff, like Amazon or UPS are always looking for people this time of year. Being a driver, typically realtors have decent cars, be able to make money. And the other thing I think that the whole driving thing does, it gets you to understand neighborhoods too. And a lot of times people don't. All they do is, we used to have a map book and we have to look at the map coordinates and we had to go south and east and then go west and then, and understand how the city worked. And I don't think anyone knows that. And I'm telling you, when you know the cities and the streets and you can, that one on Bluebird. Yeah, absolutely. That's over on Carriage Hills, just off Pike Lake Trail and 42. When you can do that, that gives you more credibility to, as a realtor, and you understand that area. So that, Bluebird is really close to Sandpoint. So you've got a beach there and that road opened up. But if you're not driving around, you're not doing that stuff, you lose that piece of that credibility because you're always looking for some credibility and ways to be able to flip it around. And knowing neighborhoods is a great way in which to do it. So if they say, how's the values? Over there. oh, well, hey, gosh, you can walk down to the beach. There's Sandpoint Beach. And I grew up on that. And that's on Lower Prior Lake. And all of a sudden you go into that whole thing. You know, you got the west facing sun and blah, 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 blah. And you're on this side of the street, so you can jump on the ferry bridge and all of that kind of stuff. And if you don't even know anything, you know that you've just become a very credible source for them.
For sure. Yeah, that Uber, Lyft, whatever you want to call it, I think is a great way for people to make money. And you're meeting people, you're still practicing your skills as well, like bartending, Uber. You can still be in that car, for an example. And this is I always got the agent brain on. Like, ask questions like, so you guys like the area? What do you like about it? How'd you move here? Did you get a job here? Where do you work? Oh, I know other people that work there. And all of a sudden you start getting these connections that are there with these people. And yep, you're driving a car down the road. You're taking them from the restaurant to their house or whatever. But you're practicing your skills. So if you could have a job where you can practice your skills, you can still do the same things you would do at an open house, like meeting people, qualifying them. Hey, are you looking for a new house? Or do you live in the neighborhood? Weird way to, you have to answer. You can't say yes or no. You just have to say, I live in the neighborhood. Oh, so you're out checking out the competition. You guys thinking about selling, or whatever. And those kind of questions just start, practice is everything. And I think a lot of people don't practice, and the words don't naturally roll out of their mouths. And so what happens is they get in front of a customer and the customer's like, okay, see you later, bye. And you lose that opportunity. So practice on the small fish. So when you do catch the big fish, you can put it in the boat. And like you said, Chris, that information is like wisdom, right? It's like people that know an area that well to say, oh, by the way, I've got a shortcut over to 35W. I know you work off of 100 because you told me you work at this building. Here's a great little short cut through. And then on the way home, you stop at the bread store. It's on the corner. Oh my God, they have the best, bread or whatever. Now you're making it a home and you're making it convenient. And you're making, all of a sudden, there's a lot of factors that you just put into their heads, thoughts, beyond just does it have 3 bedrooms and 2 baths and a cul-de-sac lot. Now you're putting into, it's easy and it's fun. And there's awesome restaurants. And right behind the Target, they got a new workout place. You're going to love it. It does this, this, and this. And all of a sudden you're making that a home for them. And that's very important. So what you just said, Chris, I think is, very valuable.
Yeah, I'll tell you the other part. I mean, those are all perfect. I mean, everything you said was great. But the other thing that we can talk about, like an Uber and a Lyft, is the flexibility of it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like, hey, I just don't have nothing going on for the next hour. Put on your little thing. Drive a couple people around until your next appointment. I mean, what's wrong with that? Or, if you got showings or you have appointments, I mean, and you have an appointment till 11 and then not another one till 2. What the heck? Let's do it. Let's make a little extra money. And I think that's you can make as little or as much as you want, and you can always have it. So it's always kind of a thing to be able to do. And like you said too, you having your car look perfect and having something to the effect that there's some sort of real estate that they might be able to see that might cause something to be talked about would be another good piece of that as well.
Well, and there's, Chris, you know this as well as I do. There's nothing worse than when you meet a real estate agent and there's desperation in their eyes and they're starving to death. And you can see it. And all they want is, they look at the customer and they see a dollar symbol on their forehead. And I go, that's the worst way to approach a customer. And I think that, my old rule of thumb is, and I don't know why this happens, but people get corporate downsized. They have one house payment left in the bank. They get divorced. And all of a sudden they want to become a real estate agent. And I go, wow, you literally are at the end of the cliff, ready to fall off the cliff, and you decide to change careers at the last second. I think that's why you see such a high failure rate, because it's the barrier to entry is very low in real estate. Take a couple of classes, you have a real estate license, you're in the business. What's hard is how to sustain it. How do you continue to grow it? I think that there's a lot of people that are in this business, that they don't plan ahead. Like if you were to tell me, hey, I want to stop selling cars and I want to actually get into real estate, I'd say, hey, do you have a year's worth of the income in the bank yet? Nope, I got $600. And you're like, then you're not ready. So for me, I worked a full-time job when I was in my young 20s until I had that ability, because my wife was staying home with my son at the time and kind of getting used to having kids and all that. So all of a sudden I had a full-time job and I had my weekend and evening real estate job. And until I had enough money saved up, and I was a freak about saving money. And once I had that there, you know what that was for me, Chris? That was the world's safest life, vest. And I was floating down the river of real estate, and I could give I was ready to take on anything that came my way. I had that comfort in the security, or like I've also said, if you have a spouse or significant other that has the ability to support the both of you while you're building your business, that's also a great way to start in this business. And so, but it's not everybody can do that. Some people have to become.
And not everyone wants to do that too.
Correct. I get it. I'm just telling you the way to make it so you don't stress out. I mean, you and I look pretty low stress because we are. I mean, I'm high strung, but I'm low stress.
Yeah. Yeah, I think real estate can take your life over too, pretty darn fast if you wanted to. You can be working all the time and chasing stuff, but I mean, I think you kind of settle in and try to figure out exactly where you fit in. What is it that you want? And it's really hard, I think, for a realtor to turn down something. But sometimes turning down something might be the best thing that ever happened to you. Amen. Especially you go into a listing and you're going to cause yourself more trouble than it's worth. And sometimes, and I'll get, some agents in our office that, don't quite have the confidence in doing a bigger listing, but they want to get it done, that they end up saying, "Hey, Chris, is it something that you would do?" And then kind of help through it. I'm saying, absolutely. Gosh, I think that's smart, because the one thing is, it's at least get something. Don't get a percentage of something versus zero of nothing, because that's what will end up happening and ruins your reputation later on. So
Chris, that's not all brokerages or not all team leaders will do that. And I think that's the, when you get out into real estate teams, the one thing that I think you'll see consistently successful is the real estate team leader that continues to produce sales themselves. They're in the business. They're feet are on the ground. They're running with the market, and they're keeping up. And those style teams can actually, you can say, "Hey, do you mind if I come along on a listing presentation?" How do you learn that without just observing it? You know what I mean? And having that wonderful gift that's been given to you to say, "Hey, Chris, what would you do, Mr. Super Successful, sold lots of multi-million-dollar properties? What would you do?" That's thousands of dollars an hour of the advice you're getting for free. And it's like, you know what I mean? And it's you're educating them out of the goodness of your heart. And instead of letting them learn the school of hard knocks, like a lot of agents have to learn, you're advancing their success faster than they could on their own. And that's the kind of team that I think will thrive in the future, is more of a mentorship style team versus the I'm the big boss and everything's the Andy Prasky team. And even though I have my AP over here, but I go preferred home team or whatever. But the idea there is I want my agents to be the star, and I want to help, like you said, Chris, I want to be the coach that helps that quarterback throw the touchdown pass. I don't want to be the quarterback anymore. I mean, I'll do it if you make me, but who am I kidding? I'll throw a touchdown pass. Give me the ball.
I was just 1 years old when my family started in real estate, where both my parents were agents. They also dabbled in investing in real estate, rentals, flips, and construction. After college, I went right into getting my license in July of 1990. As a 23-year-old agent in an industry that looks nothing like today, I had to know more for my clients to choose me. There wasn't Zillow or social media to tell them how good I was. I had to win them over with knowledge. With knowledge comes confidence, and with confidence comes results.
Hubba. Look at that beauty.
Yes. What do we got here? Somme Court. All right, that is.
I don't know.
That's kind of close to the river valley, isn't it? Looks
like a creek right there.
Yeah, there's.
Ooh, is it on a creek? Creek?
No, let me go in a little, Nick. Let me just see what road it's off of.
Oh,
Eden Prairie Road. Keep going in.
There are trails up to the right.
Yeah, Eden Prairie Road, and that's right off of kind of coming from Shakopee over. Kind of you go into almost Chanhassen, but it's right on that corner. That's a good little area. I think that's kind of a little cul-de-sac off of. It's a pretty steep road, but it's a neat little area. But I think that one's kind of close to the airport too, which is Flying Cloud Airport, which is not. I mean, obviously it's smaller jet type stuff, but obviously have planes.
A lot of helicopters too.
planes, yeah, in and out of there. So that might be something. What do we got here? So we've got 1.7 for 7,500 square feet. It doesn't look like it's on acreage.
We're only
Looks
going
like
to accept cash, Chris.
house right next to it. What's that?
I said only cash, baby.
Cash
Yeah.
only. Yeah. But looks like a nice house. When was it built? 2013. Okay, so it's only a half acre. There's association in there, 190 a month. Wonder what that is all for. Be interesting to know, because that's it's a little unusual, because I think that's a standalone cul-de-sac. Can you Nick, pull up where the actual house is? Kind of go in like really close. Yeah, I want to see if that. Yep. Oh, see, it is. Yep. Look at that little cul-de-sac.
Satellite.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So I don't know if those houses next to it are part of it as well, this association.
Probably.
But yeah, it just doesn't look like there's amenities. So I wonder if it's like garbage, and maybe they're doing snow and lawn care for them. But 190 a month is not inexpensive for a house without like having a pool or a lodge or something. But all right, let's see the pictures. 6 bedroom, 7 bath, 7,500 square feet. The numbers sound right. You know, it's okay. It's okay look. Stately.
That's one reason I picked it, because at 1.7 million, it didn't seem like it was any different than like a suburb of house.
You get some different in Eden Prairie. There's just kind of a bunch of different markets. Some of the newer stuff, that's bigger. You're kind of getting up in there. All right, so that's a cool staircase. Looks like it's
A little Victorian for me, but that's okay.
yeah. Shows well though.
Mm-hmm.
It's clean.
Nice.
Looks like it's staged. See how little the stuff are in the shelves? I mean, nobody has shelves that look like that typically. And so they've definitely staged this thing nice and clean and open and bright. Yeah,
The windows fogged? Why do they?
Sunny day. That's why you want it kind of just a doldrum day. And then they can put the skies in for you on the outside.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? Sometimes those rugs make rooms look smaller. They're really good for when people are looking at the house, but sometimes for pictures, they're better to be gone.
I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of bored.
Well, let's
Give me
keep
something
going.
exciting.
Let's try to unbore you.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean? It's like I'm saying, like, just in general, the pictures are very classic Victorian. I'm not seeing anything that's drawing me in. I'm honestly bored. There we go.
Well, I think here's the interesting part, and I think that's what we try to do. We try to be the person looking at to buy it. So we're looking at this thing and how we're going to buy it. And like Andy is, if he's 10 pictures in and he doesn't have a feel, Andy's going to go to the next one. Or people like Andy are going to go to the next one rather than keep going. So, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring you through the house, it looks like, because you had the foyer and then you're going to the dining room. But you might want to get some of the good parts, which we'll see if we have some good parts. So this is a second dining area, it looks like. Kitchen's good, decent. Okay.
A lot of tile there.
Yeah. So formal, informal, island seating. All right.
Is there an indoor pool or anything on this one, or where are we?
We're gonna find out. Office, main floor. I mean, it's a big house. You can tell that. We're still on the main floor.
I know, but the first 30 pictures still show that it's like a smaller home, like a normal 2-story. This is where I need to see the bigger. Where's the
Andy,
square footage?
hold on. Go back one, Nick. I'm wondering if this is a. Go back one picture. One more.
Last suite or something?
This one. Like if this is like a back hallway where they've got like a in-law suite or something off the back.
Okay, there you go. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Little,
'cause it's
little
you got a
prep
double
area.
kitchen on the main floor. I bet you it is. Look at that. Did you got kind of a living room, or is that a bedroom off? All right, let's
So you're
keep
coming
going.
in off the garage because it has that auto lock on it.
Yeah, this is an in-law type thing. Totally is. See it? Yep, there it is. So there's that little, see the door there with the two windows?
Yep.
That's a way to get into their own little area. And so it's kind of backed by the garages because the front, we saw the front before. All right.
Is this in Rooneyville where you're?
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a big thing now. I mean,
I think you're going to see more and more of that, Chris. As affordability is a challenge for young kids, you're going to see the parents having a house, they design it where they can afford it. Kids maybe have their own little area, the basement, the wing, the above the wherever, and until they get on their feet, you know what I mean? I think you're going to see a lot of that over the next couple of years.
Totally. Hey, Nick, can you show me the wording that they have on this one? I just want to see what they say about it. Because that's a big thing. That little piece is a big thing to be able to promote. And the other thing is it's kind of it's in a good little
It's
area.
on break right now. He's
I wonder if he is. I wonder if he's
oh, there we go.
Okay.
I bet I was looking at it right here. In-law suite. It talks about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the in-law suite. So yeah, so that's kind of a big thing. And I think that might have changed Andy's thought at the beginning because he would have waited to be able to see the pictures of that. So
yeah, I think I need more pictures. I need to see the variety of pictures though, guys, because I'm not feeling 1.7 at all. I'm still stuck at that 850 to 900, and then throw the suite down there and you're at $1 million. And the extensive, beautiful lot with nobody behind you, throw another couple hundred on there. So now you're at what, 1.4? I'm not 1.75.
Yeah. It says something about a theater area too.
Well, let's if you don't mind, since we have a little time here, let's click on like where it shows all the pictures there, Nick, where they have like 30 pictures at one time. There you go. And just keep rolling until we see something exciting.
It's so funny. This is exactly how I look at listings. So fast, I whip through them, and then if I find something, that's kind of
a little character in the mat in the upstairs. Yeah.
Attic master. It looks like. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep going. There should be a theater room or something.
In-law suite, maybe.
I think they got a double one almost. That's another like area over the garage. It's a lot of freaking house, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a cool bar and stuff. Well, entertainment. There doesn't look like there's any windows down there though.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. There's a little theater.
Oh, it's the Ohio that screws it up for everybody. Nobody wants that house.
Ohio. Is that Ohio State? Yeah, it is.
I'd put a nice Afghan over those, and then you'd maybe have a shot at it.
You know what, though? You're not far off. I'll tell you. I can't tell you how that could get really distracting. All right, hold on. Go to that back photo. That's not a. I'm not sure I would have used that. Ugh.
Tuck under garage.
So it's so it is. Is it a walkout? Yeah, it is. Okay, good. Just doesn't look like it.
See, I look at houses like this though, and they spent the time to arch under the deck, but they didn't trim out the windows. It's kind of blasé back there for that price point.
A lot of square footage, and I think it's going to be for multi-generational family type situation in a good location. You really got your pick of schools to go to too, because there's there's Holy Family, there's Holy Family, Southwest Christian, Chan, Eden Prairie, and Shakopee. That's all like right there. Even though it's Eden Prairie schools, but
so what do you think on price?
People have options.
They've been for sale for 40 days. What do you think on 1.7?
No, I don't. I have a feeling that it's more semi-custom than custom, and I mean, I just sold one in Eden Prairie. It's probably about a year ago. We got it for 1.8. That
yep,
much it's much higher end than that. And I don't know. I don't know. I think it possibly could, because of all of the other things that it has for it. And there's not a lot of houses that have that. You're on a cul-de-sac, you're in a really good location. I don't know how much the planes, I mean, I know they go there, but it's not like horrific at all. We both got clients on the other side of the airport, and it's actually kind of neat, I think. But
Yeah,
because they're not like big things, dumping gas on you. They're just
you're running on 7 minutes trying to answer the question. What do you think on the price, Chris?
I have to go inside of it. I don't know.
I'd have to see it too.
I think it was staged pretty good, but I do think that, once you kind of get over 1.5, you got to have some other striking things that make it happen. But
see, to me now, Eden Prairie is always $200,000 overpriced, the whole town. And so, but that's just the way the pricing is down there, right? So when you shop from Minnetonka, you kind of take that west side of town, you start. I've had several buyers in that market, and over the years where they're like, we have $1 million budget. And I'm like, that's like popcorn here, man. I mean, everybody's $1 million. And but it's shocking how there are some houses on the bottom of the price points that you just don't get a lot of money or a lot of house for the money. And then some of these houses like we're looking at today, where they have in-law suites and they're on a cul-de-sac with a creek behind them. And there's a lot more to it that, in my head can justify getting into that 7-figure range. But at the end of the day, is somebody willing to pay what they're offering at the price they're willing, and I think that, like you're saying, Chris, in a nice way, I just think they're missing some of that $1.7 million house amenities that I'd like to see, the nicer trims, maybe fancier cabinets, not the Menards tile going all the way up in the kitchen. I think that all has to be redone. I think, I'm just being honest. And and I think that house could use a little TLC in the back, and they, but 7,800 finished square feet is a lot of square feet for the money.
And on a cul-de-sac, and having your needs that you have, so if I have to have someone living with me, I mean, that's an important factor. If I have to go build it on, is the lot big enough? Is it going to look okay? All that kind of stuff.
But you're talking to new construction brain guy that, like I always hear people, oh yeah, your competition down the road has 300 more suite for the money or whatever. And you go 300 more square feet. Let's look at this. And they're the upside down pyramids, right? Where everything is, the basement's tiny. The main floor is all cantilevered. The upstairs hangs way over the garage. So it's like, or is this a straight salt box where it's straight up and down and you're actually getting 7,800 finished square feet with foundation and roof above it? That's a big, expensive house.
But from a building standpoint, I mean, what could you build 7,700 square feet for? I mean, in the least amount of money.
Under $1 million. Easy.
What?
Under $1 million. I easily could. I've got houses right now that are pushing 5,000 square feet that are with sport courts, with everything, are at about 820 brand new on a walkout lot. So I tell you, that's why you're talking to the guy that knows the real numbers. I'm not in la la land drinking my
but that's not a under $200 a square foot house
all the time.
That one is not. No,
I know that. I get that.
Yeah. But I'm just saying. So even if that one was, let's just say it's 200 square foot. I mean, that's 1.5 right there, just for the house. And obviously it's not new construction. You're not getting everything new, but I don't know. I think that's what sometimes people will start justifying to themselves.
Well, that lot, I think, is where the money's at. And I think if they would really focus on the land and the location more than they did the like Victorian staircase when you come in, I'd have all land first and draw you in on how cool the lot is, and then show you all the cool fun areas. And then also maybe part of your fun of living there is that you can have the formal dining if you want it, but you also have the amenities, the cozy spots to go watch a movie. You can go get embarrassed and watch Ohio State. Beat
that would be a fun one to do, like almost some actors in it, and kind of show how that house lives. Where you can kind of go over and see grandma and grandpa as you're driving in, and they wave out the door. I mean, just kind of play off of something a little more like that.
Sure. So. No, and granted, everything in Eden Prairie, in my opinion, is over $200,000 too high. So it's like in my head, right? That's a North Metro guy
He's jealous.
At South Metro.
North Metro's jealous of the South Metro. I'm just saying.
Super jelly.
Been here, heard it. That's why I can't go past 394.
I know.
You get up there too close.
We have a guard shack there to keep you prim and proper people out.
I'm actually more impressed with the North Metro ever since I met you, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah. That is a thank you.
Hey,
no, because you're an advocate of it. So
I love the North, man. I love it. Absolutely. Hey, I tell you what, I wanted to make sure that those of my fans and past customers, we do have our annual client event this weekend. So go on Facebook, check it out. If you want to make it, we're going to have a lot of fun. We always have all the donuts, coffees, and free treats for the movies, lots of prizes and giveaways. And so that is tomorrow morning up at the Champlin Theater. So Saturday morning, excuse me.
Get lots of footage, and I can make something with it, Andy.
I'll try to get you some. My videographer is still stuck at college, so I might have to do some of my own wobbly agent video.
You're gonna look good.
All right.
All right, everybody. Hey, click that link. Guys. Click that link. Subscribe on the YouTube. Write us reviews. Send any questions you have, and of course, if you want to buy or sell, you know who to call. See you guys next week.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Real Estate Radio Hour. Don't forget to visit our website, realestateradiohour.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, or your preferred podcast listening app. If you enjoyed today's episode, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes or sharing us with a friend. Until next time, stay awesome, Twin Cities.